Number 3. The boy who filmed his own death. Michurinsk, Russia, June 2nd. We begin our list not with a mass disaster, but with something more intimate, and in many ways more disturbing. Near the city of Michurinsk in central Russia, a mid-sized industrial town roughly 400 kilometers southeast of Moscow, a young boy climbed onto the roof of a stationary train one evening. He turned on his phone camera and began recording himself. What followed would be watched by millions of people online. Footage that no one was ever supposed to see. In the video, the boy looks into the camera and waves.
Пацаны, девчонки, первый раз нахуй на поезде! Бля, санаторка вон. Вон она, вижу. Где? Игорь! Игорь!
That wave was his last gesture. A split second later, there's a blinding flash and a sharp crack, the sound of a high-voltage overhead wire making contact with a human body. The camera keeps rolling. Male voices can be heard shouting in the background, rushing toward the scene. Then the footage cuts off entirely. The overhead lines on Russian railways carry up to 25,000 volts. Contact is instant. Contact is fatal. The boy never had a chance. His death became part of a growing and tragic epidemic. Children and teenagers across Russia climbing trains for social media attention, with no real understanding of the invisible, lethal danger hanging just centimeters above their heads. Number 2. The Brakeless train under Paris. Gare de Lyon, Paris, France, June 27, 1988. The Gare de Lyon is one of the busiest train terminals in all of France, a grand, century-old station in the heart of Paris, serving everything from local commuters to international express services. But beneath its famous clock tower, deep underground, there are basement platforms where regional commuter trains arrive and depart. To reach those platforms, incoming trains must roll down a steep underground grate. On the evening of June 27, 1988, that slope turned into a death ramp. Commuter train 153944 was making its routine run from Melun into Paris during the Monday evening rush hour. Several miles outside the city, a passenger pulled the emergency brake, an unscheduled stop. The driver, Daniel Solon, waited for clearance and restarted the train without properly checking whether the brakes were still functional. They weren't. As the train rolled downhill toward the underground platforms, it began to accelerate, and kept accelerating. With no way to stop it, the train hurtled into the station at nearly 80 kilometers per hour and slammed full force into a stationary outbound train packed with passengers waiting to depart. 56 people were killed. 57 more were injured. The front two cars were completely destroyed on impact. Rescue workers spent hours cutting through the wreckage with metal saws to reach the dead and dying trapped inside. Solon was convicted of manslaughter but served just 6 months behind bars. The Gare de Lyon accident remains the deadliest peacetime rail disaster in French history to this day. The wheel that killed 101. Eschede, Lower Saxony, Germany, June 3, 1998. Eschede is a quiet village of just a few thousand people in the flat farmlands of northern Germany. Before the summer of 1998, nobody outside the country had ever heard of it. After June 3 of that year, it became synonymous with the worst high-speed rail disaster the world has ever seen. Intercity Express Train 884, the Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen, was traveling at 200 kilometers per hour on the Munich to Hamburg route, carrying 287 passengers. It was Germany's pride, a gleaming, modern, record-breaking train with a perfect safety record. 6 kilometers south of Eschede, a single steel wheel rim on the first passenger coach quietly fractured. It had been developing a microscopic fatigue crack for months. Nobody had caught it. The broken rim peeled away, punched up through the floor of the carriage, and lodged in the undercarriage. A passenger noticed and reported it to the conductor, who, instead of stopping the train immediately, chose to walk back and inspected himself first. That delay cost more than 100 people their lives. The jammed fragment caught a track switch at full speed, violently throwing the rear of the train onto a diverging line. Multiple cars jackknifed. 3 coaches slammed into a concrete road bridge at 200 kilometers per hour, collapsing it entirely onto the carriages below. 101 people were killed. 88 were severely injured. Deutsche Bahn paid settlements to victims' families, and 3 company officials faced manslaughter charges. The Eschede disaster permanently changed high-speed rail safety standards worldwide. If you enjoyed these unbelievable stories, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Because trust me, reality somehow keeps getting weirder than fiction.